Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Hindsight Podcast. We are very delighted to be back on the show because we're doing this for 2 weeks in a row. And it's a really nice day because we are speaking about cancel culture today and the fact that everything is happening. Look, today on the podcast, I felt like today is not a football podcast, but we have to still find a way to intersect, what we're talking about with football because everything is happening across the world with Kourt Zouma and whatnot deserves to be spoken about in very great detail. I'm happy to welcome Olakunle Rufai, Inyobong Monday, and IBK Sports. Gentlemen, good to have you back. You were at the place to see your mom. Hope she's great.
Well, she's doing fine. We thank God for life.
Yeah, really good.
We don't get choice.
That's the most important thing, right?
Yes.
Most important thing. Right. I like the shirt. It's the first time you won it on the podcast, huh?
Yeah, of course.
I'm not counting, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I bet anybody remember if you repeat shirt.
I can assure you.
Don't
Don't
I've
worry.
repeated any shirt on this.
Hold on.
That's the point where if somebody else is talking,
I can assure you that you will see it again and possibly again and possibly again. No pressure. No pressure whatsoever.
I spoke to.
You're not
I'm
worried
not
about.
pressured. Don't worry. No, I'm fine. I hold my side.
I was going to go to an event with a friend of mine, energy guy, and I was wearing the same jeans. I was like, he was like, did they count jeans for person? Right. I think
the easiest thing to repeat is that.
No, Jesus is easiest thing to repeat.
But that's a good conversation to have because, gentlemen, guys normally would wear a lot of shirts.
Right.
But they will keep the same number of, pants or trousers. They can use it for a
So
long
you want to
time.
sit on this show and reveal all our secrets?
No, I'm just saying.
Funny enough,
No, but it's a normal
the
thing.
same way I think girls have a particular bra they like. Yes, no, I'm serious. So, no, girls go tell you, see,
I'm
you get one bra we they like, go
Yeah.
If you are close to girls, they'll tell you.
No. This thing where you did,
How do you take no?
I didn't see her for Twitter. I didn't see her.
So I tell you what, right? From not from experience, right?
I think speaking from experience.
But you know how this is where the song I woke up in Chris Brown's body makes sense. So normally, even as guys, there are clothes you like more than the other clothes.
Of course.
What happens in my case
So
is
you're
that
backing IBK up.
no, yeah, of course, you get. What happens in my case is that I try to wear those clothes less because I like them a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess I fall into the category of people that you call hoarders. So I hoard my favorite clothes.
I think I probably used to do the same, but recently I just felt like, if something happens tomorrow.
No, in terms of
So I'm
in terms of wearing everything I wear everything I have. But my favorite clothes are the ones I'm like, this clothes I like and tomorrow. I feel no see I'm again.
I have a jacket. A jacket. And I don't want to mention the brand, but I have a jacket I've worn only once. I wore it in 2019 December. Haven't worn it again.
Because you're just preserving for the best moment.
Because you're looking for that top-notch event, that premiere, that red carpet that is absolutely lit.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you with that.
But really,
there's some clothes you don't want to bring them out all the time.
Anybody who doesn't admit it is probably not being totally honest. Because if you don't have a lot of money, right? if you don't have a lot of money to acquire the things you want at the time you want them, and that's a very important point. Because you can have money, so we earn money, I earn money, right? Lucky for me.
Yeah.
Praise be to God. I earn money, so I can acquire some things, but maybe not at the time I want them. So sometimes I have to wait for a longer period to acquire the things I want, right? But if you have money to acquire the things you want when you want them, if you want them and how you want them, you can do anything you want with your clothes.
All this English. So
in that case, you can do whatever because you know that if you have a Nike shoe today and maybe for whatever reason you come down, somebody pour bleach on your shoe, you can buy another one. You can call your stylist and maybe like, get me another one. So what I do is there are days maybe my car is bad. I know that I have to maybe use an hailing service. I wanted to say Uber. But I mean, I think Uber don't need the promo.
Or you want to go to Oshodi or Marina.
Right. Well, I probably have to job
you
a
won't
boss.
carry Nike shoe.
Yeah. I can't wear my favorite Nike shoe for that. Yeah. So I have to be smart.
But you be. Someone was saying that he caught whiskey repeating clothes. I saw something like that on Twitter. But I now said if you buy something of let's say $5,000 now, Are you not allowed to repeat it?
No, but I saw something and I thought this was the leveler. Where someone posted on Twitter and said, repeating clothes can only show that you are the owner of the clothes. And at the end of the post, he said, am I communicating?
You definitely communicated that.
I celebrate you. I celebrate you
on that. But welcome to the show. Lucky Notified, good to have you back. IDK Sports, great to have you as well. I want to speak about cancel culture today. And if you're joining the podcast today, you might find that we now and then deviate from the main conversation, but please do follow us on Instagram and on YouTube as well. We actually had a great time on YouTube last year because we pretty much went from 0 followers or subscribers to 1,000 subscribers. Now I think we're at something like 1,100, something like that. But we need to make that happen to like 5K. Imagine what it would be. People tell us we have the best football podcast in the country. Imagine what it would be to have like 5K subscribers. I look at the people that have 400K, like Sisi Yemi on YouTube, and I wonder, how did it ever happen? How did they ever get to 400 subscribers, 400,000 subscribers on YouTube? That is incredible. I think when you do those numbers, you can run for president, literally, right? So look, we just want to get to 5K first, and maybe we now can tell the next person who has 10 subscribers that we can actually do it. So help us get there, right? Great stuff. Shout out to Wale as well for putting in some overtime, because we have actually been really hard on Wale to get some things done on the podcast. And thanks to everybody who sends us a message and also sends us a message to suggest the topics to talk about. Unfortunately, I feel like AFCON is a week long gone. And maybe at the time we drop the episodes, it might be too late to speak about the AFCON. So we'll probably touch base on the AFCON later on. Right. Let's speak about cancel culture. And I have to start off with the fact that, the society we are creating at the moment, what we have managed to create as a society is a slippery slope we're currently on. And, when you see the likes of China, Japan, South Korea, try to hold on to, as much as they can anyways, the fabric of what has made them what they become. People have to realize that is a deliberate process. So let's speak about Kourt Zouma now, right? Because the fact of the story and the meat of the story is that, there's the video that came out on Instagram. He kicked his cat and I think threw something at the cat, something like that. The punishment thereafter has been that he's been fined 250,000 pounds. I think that's about 2 weeks' wages.
Yeah,
I think that was by West Ham, right?
Wages, yeah.
By West Ham, right?
Yeah.
Right. His Adidas deal has been withdrawn from
Terminated,
him, right?
yeah.
And also people have said that's not enough. They literally want the guys.
They want him sacked.
They want the guy's head, right? And we have to speak in relation to the client, right?
I wish I can get that kind of...
When you're saying someone should lose their career, what exactly you're saying is, I don't want this guy alive. I think is that extreme, because he's lived all his life playing football.
Yep.
And at this point of his life, I think he's 27. That's his life. So if you take football out of him now, you're literally cutting his head off.
Yeah. I think we. It's interesting that we're speaking about the topic from a holistic view, right? The cancel culture, because in football, for me, it's like these British people. They're I don't know. I don't think we have a group of people that is more hypocritical than what we have with the British people. So they'll tell you that particular country has issues with, immigrants, labor issues, But there's so much that you guys are doing. You get gemstones from Saudi Arabia. You don't know where these gemstones, came from.
A lot of things
right?
from the Kingdom.
And just to bring that, I've always believed that cancel culture is built on irresponsibility, is built on lack of integrity. Because I don't see how a lot of people that will come online and cancel you have a lot of issues in their homes. So the same topic that they are canceling you for, they are probably worse off than you with how they handle the same topic or with how they behave when it comes to the same topic. So that's why I feel like it is lack of, it's built on irresponsibility, also a lack of integrity. Because if you have integrity, I don't see how you will know that, this thing way that they insult this person for.
Yeah.
Myself, I did do amu. And then you still now go and insult the person. I think it's a lack of integrity.
I think that this is the point where, and every time we speak about some things on the podcast and we jovially say it, I find that a lot of people enjoy the jokes on the podcast, the banter, but in many ways everything on the podcast is mostly very curated and made to have a certain impact, right? And I find that we've spoken about players having a taking a stand at some point in time for the right things, right? And this I would have to narrow down to black players and the role of the PFA, right? So shout outs to Mikel Antonio, who's come out to defend the player and say, look, is this more critical than when somebody racially abuses a player? I don't remember, but correct me if I'm right. Is there a player that has been fined £250,000 a week?
No chance.
For racially abusing another player. And I take it a step further by saying that I don't think even a federation have been fined that amount of money.
How much was Suarez fined?
The earliest I remember was the English FA being fined, I think, £200,000 a week, £200,000 for the crowd trouble that happened at the Euro final.
Yeah.
That is an entire federation that makes millions of pounds in revenue, right? So for me, I think we've come to a point, and I say we, maybe that's misplaced. I think black players have to choose where they want to belong in the food chain, right? When you come from Africa, the fundamental is that you find the chances that European football gives you as a rare privilege, and it is a privilege. I have to admit it is a privilege, right? To play European football and earn a currency that is, way higher than 5 currencies in African countries put together. But at some point in time, surely African players have to realize that they are the actual cream of the protagonists.
Yeah.
Right? The Premier League is the most cosmopolitan league in the world, and by far the most successful one. Not because of the British players.
Yep,
of course.
Because of the foreigners.
Because of the foreigners.
Yeah, they know.
I'm sure they know. At some point in time,
they know.
There has to be a paradigm shift to say, we are the ones that give you an incredible amount of publicity by our talent and our stories and our sheer originality. If you keep treating the black players extremely wrong when something comes up, then clearly all the black players in the Premier League or the Championship are saying that if they don't stand up against this now, they are also being selfish to the other generation coming up.
Yeah.
Because in the end, the players like, sorry, before you go in, the ones who came before, the very first black players who played in European football, made a sacrifice. Like the Bozeman rule, right? We all speak about players having an incredible amount of, leverage when they speak about contracts now. That guy probably took the fall for that. At some point in time, the Mo Salahs, the Manes, who does an incredible job, I have to say Mane does an incredible job. The bigger ones who have the greatest PR must make the clubs and the PFA realize that we see what you are doing. The fact that people keep quiet and this would go away in another 2 months or a couple of weeks means that it can happen again.
Yeah.
I find that very ridiculous.
So I think as long as you we remain at their mercy, I think there's nothing we can do about it. That's the truth. If we don't,
do you have to remain at the mercy?
That is the point. We are not even.
There's something
we are not even developing ourselves.
Can I quickly?
We are not developing ourselves. If you want to stop this cancel culture, I always say it, I feel that this part of the world we are not developing enough. See, we have the resources, we have everything.
But you gave an excellent platform.
Yeah.
When you look at European football, I'm talking the very highest level of European football.
Yes.
You're not going to talk about top 20 players in the world and you don't have a couple of Africans in there.
6 or 7.
You would have a Mo Salah there. You have a Sadio Mane there. You have a Kalidou Koulibaly there.
You are seeing what I'm saying.
You have top players.
My point is that
hold on.
My point is that if you look at South America, they don't get this disrespected. My point, and that's because
of course,
they have practical. No, it's not about skin color. They have a lot of black players as well there. The thing is that when you do your own homework, like our parents say, charity begins at home. I go teach you for house, so we'll go disrespect me for outside. Most of our players, they won't be what they are today if not that they play in Europe. Neymar already made a lot of these South Americans. They already made their name. They already, at least to some extent, made their name before they traveled abroad.
So basically, IBK is saying
you have
the lack of alternative, or maybe not an alternative that is at par with European football, but maybe an alternative that at least gives players a chance to utilize the incredible amount of numbers they have here. So
No, but what he's sounding like, I'm hearing, is at some point we probably need to stage a walkout, which is not possible because the European football is still at the apex. It's still the highest level.
What would it cost for players to?
No, because if you want to stage a walkout, let's say, what would be the alternative? If you create a league in Africa, no matter how big it is,
that's off the cards.
I'm just saying. South American League, as big as the Brazilian League is and the Argentine Apertura League is, you can't compare it to Europe. The Americans are trying with the Major League Soccer, still way off. So you can't say...
And they have capital.
So you can't say we can do things in isolation. It's not possible.
So for me, I think IBK makes a good point.
Yeah.
But why I disagree with IBK is, and UB mentioned it's down to your skin color. You said no, that's what it is, because football is just a small part of the society. The truth is that you are treated in a particular way based on the fact that you are black, and so that's why it happens also in music, happens also in the movie industry, happens. So football is just a small part of it. So at the end of the day, it is your skin color. So for me, it's like, how do you solve that problem? If there's anything I never ever want to be in my life, is to not be a slave to what I want to eat. And I think that a lot of black people, not just footballers, obviously we're talking about football now, I think a lot of black footballers are slaves to what they think they want to eat. Because you mentioned FIFPro. So you have a lot of movements now these days. There's the Me Too movement, there's the LGBTQ, there's the this. So why is it that, the only movement that is black that we know all over the world is the Black Lives Matter, and that's in the United States. So I'm saying that to say that if we want to do something, if black footballers in the top leagues in the world want to do something about how they are being treated, they can actually do it. The only problem is they are all individually being slaves to what they think they want to eat. If I speak, I'm going to lose this endorsement. If I speak, I'm going to lose this deal. If I speak, that's exactly what's happening. Because if you can't stage a walkout, just to conclude, if you can't stage a walkout, which we've all agreed you can't do, because the European leagues are still the best. Definitely. You can't walk out. What you then do is you use the same thing that they are using against you, against them.
The media.
Start your own movement, your own media movement, your own emotional narratives. That's what you have to do.
So, a player like Mikel Antonio makes when he comes out to, make a solidarity comment for Kourt Zouma, you would imagine that, that comment should be chorused by the biggest players. I can guarantee you, on this table, I don't think Mo Salah will say anything about it.
Yeah, I don't think so too.
Right.
Because it goes back to what Olakule is saying.
Yeah. I don't think Salah...
He's scared of what will Liverpool think? Yeah. What will the manager think? Yeah. Do I want to get myself enmeshed in this kind of thing?
But
which is the core problem.
You know what I have a problem?
We're shying away from taking responsibility.
And I tell you why I think that, the hypocrisy is not only on the side of the white people or the Caucasian people.
Yeah.
It's also on black players.
Yeah.
Because you hear about how lackadaisical Pogba is to, for example, to contract talks. He is most powerful. When I sit on the table, you hear that Man United are almost at his mercy when he wants to sign a new deal. So clearly he has some power, some leverage, right? That leverage never shows up
when it's a community
thing, right?
You get?
So ultimately, I'm going to expand the conversation away from Africans that play for Africa or come from Africa, right? That doesn't make sense, but you get what I mean, right? For example, like Pogba. Pogba is probably the most influential black player, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Right now,
from what I know, Kourt Zouma's friend,
very good friend,
right?
The family very close.
From what I know,
his wife. They go to Mecca
everywhere together.
From what I know, very good friends, right? And correct me if I'm wrong now, right? If it takes Mikel Antonio to be the first black player that Sky reports as the player who has shown solidarity, that is a problem.
And that's because he's retired as well.
If he has a problem, if he has a problem today by 1 p.m., right? And I sit back with my team and analyze it. Is he in the wrong? I think he is in the wrong, right? Are they trying to cut his head off? Yes. Would I allow that happen? No. I make a comment.
Capital letter.
The moment
Immediately,
the moment
they
I
go,
realize,
no, be only in the day.
the moment I will be in the venue of what's happening.
Do you understand?
Matter of fact, myself and Rufai speak a lot about things that are away from football. It's funny because people, think, I like the ladies that speak to me rather, and shout out to all the ladies that speak to me, right? Ladies that speak to me.
What exactly does that mean? He said shout out to all the ladies.
He consent you.
Focus on the heavenly. Focus on the heavenly.
When we start the show, remember we see talk.
Focus on the heavenly race.
Right. They shout out to them. They go. Shout out to all of you.
Some of the very impressive ladies that speak to me. I have the time to condone. My
Your Dan Banner.
my dad banner, right? That's the word. Shout out to brother. Says that, I feel like I know only about football, right? And myself and Rufai speak a lot about things that don't concern football, right? And one of the things we speak about is, we speak about music and society a lot. I'm very interested in nation building, right? And that's why if you meet me on Twitter and, you think you follow the podcast and you come and, speak about Buhari, I will curse you. Right? I will insult you. But we speak about deals and sponsorships a lot. So, what does it take for a player to walk away from a deal? What does it take for African footballers to walk away from a deal? So, I think Pogba is sponsored by Nike or Adidas? Adidas, right?
Yeah, Adidas.
Wizkid found something. Wizkid found something. You like my direction. Hallelujah.
I celebrate you, my brother.
Wizkid found something that wasn't, in agreement with what he stands for, right? And whether you're on you're on David's side or Wizkid's side, right? Wizkid walked away from a Puma deal.
Yep.
Do you know what that means to a Nigerian kid from Surulere?
Walked away completely.
Walked away from a Puma deal. And I'm guessing that he paid back the sign-on fee. I'm guessing that he called Sunday Array and said, look, Egbon, this thing is not working. I feel like this thing is a slap on what we have tried to build. We are kids from Africa. If we don't take a stand now, these people won't understand us forever. It
starts from
right?
there, yeah.
And we can, and he's done it multiple times.
And he's taken a stand and refused the Puma deal. Actually, not refused, reneged on the Puma deal.
Yeah.
Do you know the amount of capital this people can come after you with a lawsuit? Right? But this kid has gone and done that. What does it take a footballer who earns £100,000 a week to walk away from a deal? What does it take? No, look, I'm not saying that they should do that. I'm asking, what does it take for all the black players who have an association or who are in community with each other to say,
for this thing you're done. Let me just. I think one thing that would go. One thing that will go with what you just said is, if you look at the Nigerian system, and I think it's been working for at least to an extent, I think the black players in Europe should find a way to have an association, and I feel that's what that would be the start.
That you don't need to have an association.
No, it will work.
Listen, I'm not saying it's not going to work.
At the start of the show, I said that I hate meetings. I hate meetings because I find meetings very unproductive.
Listen now.
So when someone says we have a meeting at 10
you
o'clock.
are just speaking like you've been in Buhari's government. Small thing committee. I don't think you need to have an association. It is a sense of identity.
You just need to be loud.
You just you
need to be loud.
Look, if you have a sense of identity, and I always think that's the problem with a lot of black people, whether or not they are in Africa.
Correct.
It is a lack of sense of identity. You understand? That's why you see, it doesn't matter where a Chinese guy is. It does not matter. The Chinese in him will always be the Chinese in him.
It will just come out like a booster.
Okay. You understand?
Drink water.
So it's not. I don't think you need to have an association. Having an association is even more of a problem, because when you have an association now, then what happens is that this is the association that represents your interests, and then that association can be bought. Now, if it's a sense of identity, the sense of identity is discussed or is pronounced in all of your individual personalities. I don't know if you get what I mean. Yeah. So you don't need to go and speak for me. I'll speak for myself. Right? So if we understand that and we're a community, and the reason why black players have suffered this nonsense so much is because it's always been in isolation. This person gets punished. Nobody talks about it. He's the only person that bears the
brunt. That's what I'm saying.
This person gets punished.
Hold on. I think Olakule, and I've been listening to UB and listening to Olakule very well. Picture this. Imagine after Kourt Zouma, the whirlwind, everyone has shouted, screamed.
Yeah.
Imagine a Mo Salah, a Paul Pogba, a Sadio Mane, a Wilfred Ndidi. All the big players in Africa in the Premier League come out and say, we think this guy is being unfairly
treated, this is racism.
and we don't like it. Now, what will happen is, Jurgen Klopp will know, I have two best players who are unhappy about something.
Yeah.
I don't want them to be unhappy. So I'm going to put my voice in it. I'm going to say, this guy has been treated unfairly. He's done something wrong, but he's been treated unfairly. So once there is a concerted effort from the people who matter from this community, once all of us come out and say, it's not right, it will have a ripple effect on the clubs they play for. Ultimately,
but I'm telling you, that's the reason it won't happen.
Ultimately, the coaches at these clubs, the people at this club, because if you abuse, let's say, is Sadio Mane racially, and he's angry, and he speaks up, say, why would you treat me like this? I'm not going to play for Liverpool because of this. Now, Jordan Henderson will say, come on, don't do that. He will come out and say, make a statement. The club will make a statement because this thing is going to affect our club.
Before you go there, Jordan Henderson would be forced to show what side he's on.
Yes, he will be.
Right?
He will be.
So I go back to Omar. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Omar Akatuba.
Akatuba, right?
Yeah.
Go back to Omar, right? What seemed like a small challenge became a subtle reporting in every African article concerning the Nations Cup. It wasn't a small tournament after all. No. Sorry.
OJB.
That was OJB Sports.
OJB Sports.
That was OJB. Hold on.
Spoke out that words.
Hold
One
on.
of the players.
No, hold on. So what seemed like a small press conference, by virtue of his identity, Lakunle, questioning what he felt was anti.
It's a sense of identity.
What he believes in became reported in. If you read every ESPN, Sky, BBC, TalkSport article,
they all jumped
Telegram,
on it.
They all said no. Even during the Nations Cup, when you're writing summaries, as the chief editor, all the chief editors said it wasn't such a little tournament anyway. Yeah. Right?
Because someone deliberately, intentionally set an agenda.
Because someone put their neck on the line. Someone put their neck on the what do you call that thing? That was actually
it goes back to what I said. You can't
the Guliton. That's what I was looking for, right? But OJB doesn't earn £20,000 a week.
Yeah,
right?
he doesn't.
And I tell you what, for journalists, right, for all of us, the things that matter to us. And what I mean by that is, as small as little as, quote unquote, the podcast is, it matters to me that I come here every Thursday and record, right? For OJB, attending press conferences is very important to him. What he put on the line was being cut off by not just Liverpool, but by every club that likes Liverpool, or every press officer
that guy is crazy. Don't allow me.
And forever, every time the Nations Cup comes up, no manager in the Premier League would ever say ill about the Nations Cup. Matter of fact, every club going to the Nations Cup will be like, we are willing to release our players because we think it's a massive tournament. Right? So how much more
because
power?
someone has led from the front.
Yes. How much more power do you think a player like Pogba earned?
Like Godwin will say, Godwin and I, a top boss. He said something on radio. He said, the thing about most of these things is that
brother.
Don't talk. They say when you'll be in a situation whereby you need to observe table manners, and that's the truth. And what is the rule of
IBK, have you staying you this?
I just tell you.
Continue.
Don't talk while eating, bro.
Who said? Continue.
It's a political statement.
Somebody
like he said. Imagine someone like Okocha. He has about 100 people he's feeding in Nigeria. He remembers how he made it through, from whatever leagues he was in Nigeria to boating. And Okocha just said, make I forget about my family, make I even talk out. I think this thing is wrong. I cannot accept this. Then boating say, guy, waiting you talk so.
We get where you're going, so I'm going to respond to you. I get where you're going, so I'm going to respond to you. First of all, I said something earlier. I said, if there's anything, never be a slave to what you are going to eat. And
But it doesn't apply every time.
IBK, listen.
Okay.
Do not be a slave to what you want to put in your mouth. Don't. Because you see, that food that you think you are eating today, you are going to starve it in the near future. Look, I mentioned sense of identity. And I don't want to have to go back to slavery and oppression and all those things. I don't want to have to go back to it. The truth is that if anybody is going to oppress you, the first thing they take from you is your identity.
And Rufai, it's because you have an alternative.
Joko.
That's why you can say all this. No, for a player that does not. Make I tell you.
I don't want to have to go to.
I want to speak on behalf of the players. Listen first.
You cannot speak on behalf of the players.
You let me boss you. If you talk,
nobody say anything for 5 minutes.
If you talk to some players, I also want to tell you facts. You studied, I think, computer science, right?
And IT.
No.
And IT. Imagine you just feel say, this sports, they work for me. Maybe something happened and you spoke out and you feel this sports, they work for me. And they say, what you did is not right. They sacked you. Maybe, let's say this answer. They said,
let's use
you are
Mr.
not here
X,
again.
please.
Okay, Mr. X, nobody will sack you. Mr. X, imagine they tell you, we don't want
I'm
you.
not comfortable anymore.
I'm no longer comfortable. I've got past it.
Have you heard that joke? Have you heard that joke? Wait, let me say joke.
Make I finish first. Never make joke.
Table manners mean that if someone is trying to interrupt you, you must allow them.
No. I don't want to forget. I don't want to forget inside the talk.
You don't forget it.
They say, let's say, for example, you are poor. The person responds, say, even in that example, I'm not poor.
I say in the bank, say, are you the last person? I say, sir, are you the last person on the queue? I will never be the last person.
So imagine they can't tell you, or Mr. X say,
fantastic.
Say, how far? Say, we don't want you on this stuff again. The truth is that Mr. X will be like, I get certificates. That's the truth. A lot of people, for you to speak out, there's always a plan B. I've spoken to most of these players, bro. A lot of them are illiterate. They don't know shit. They don't know shit.
You spoke to Salimani.
Their life is that football. If you cut it away, if you cut that rope, bro.
But do you think it's that easy?
Wait,
do you think it's that
so
easy?
do you want to tell that person?
When
there is no alternative?
We're talking about Sadio Mane.
And I'm concluding. We're talking about Sadio Mane. We're not talking about Moses Simon. Are you expecting?
We're talking Sadio Mane.
Are you expecting that player to speak out when he knows that there's no alternative?
Can I respond now?
You can.
First of all, when you said that the only time you speak out, every time people speak out is because they have an alternative, is BS. That's number one.
Absolute BS.
Absolute BS. I don't want to have to tell you some of my own personal stories. It is either
you can say
it is either you stand for something or you don't.
Simple.
If you stand for something, doesn't mean you have an alternative. And as a matter of fact, more often than not, when you stand for something and what you stand for is right, whether or not you have an alternative, another door will open. Fact. I don't want to have to quote anything for you.
You don't need to quote Martin Luther.
You understand? I don't have to quote anything.
But what if another does not open?
Now, having said that, we've been speaking about Sadio Mane and Paul Pogba. Do you honestly think, and it be like say you go church very recently, I know say you need to go every time. Do you honestly think that Paul Pogba will speak about the Kourt Zouma issue and Man U will say we don't want you anymore as a player? Do you honestly think that's what's going to happen?
IBK, I tell you what, right? I like to
Why
draw.
you quiet?
I like to make real examples. I like to make real examples.
Oh, yeah, here you go.
Real examples.
Oh, yeah, here you go.
Real examples, right? So if tomorrow, you wake up on the podcast and say you're not coming anymore, right? To a great extent, myself and everybody here administers the podcast, right? Maybe I in more ways than others. I have to think about what you bring to the podcast, and think, if we drop, how much are we going to miss IBK on the podcast, right? If Olakule doesn't come tomorrow, we don't. Everybody has a black hair, we need some diversity, right? How do we capture Gen Z markets, right? How do we speak to people that like, a stud on your ear, right? I have to take that into consideration, right? No,
you be that.
Right?
See, you be that. Idiot. You don't have to wait for me. No, they do it. If you want score, it go. They say no look, no look go. Hey, good eye.
So Junior,
I have to. Do you really think that? You see, in the end, you have to think about. And people, when people look at big corporations, they think about big corporations like the Holy Grail. They are not. They are run by human beings that make the same logical choices and look at the numbers just the way you look at the numbers. And ultimately,
nobody did here.
Nobody did here. You understand? Which is why I like the song Two Face sang. You get, oh yeah, come make we go see the things where they talk say we go like to see before. When we go, we'll now find out if they get 2 heads or not. Right? When you go to the biggest corporations, you realize that in the end, it is just another guy making a choice on behalf of what is a global brand, e.g., Man United. Right? So if you come and say you don't want to be on the podcast anymore, I have to find out if it is worth letting you go. I have to find out. It's not going to be, trust me, it's not going to be black and white call and say,
and in the near future, so that we don't water down the podcast, can we get somebody in who can do even if 80% as good as he
used to do? This is an understanding where dotted lines were not signed.
Yeah.
How much more a situation where consortium of lawyers.
And this is what I say. And IBK, right? I hate to be the one. I had to school you or anything, because you're a grown man. But you can never think about what you do as the last option. You can never think like that. Nobody should ever think like that. Kids growing up should never think like that. If you're growing up and you have value to give, that value you have, take it and walk away.
You can't lose your sense of identity.
You can't. You can't. And
stomach infrastructure.
No, you can't. You can't. And guess
People
what?
have lost their character because of stomach infrastructure.
And guess what? If you lose it, if you starve for it,
which is not even possible if you have value.
If you have value, you can't starve for it.
You can't starve.
I'm gonna pull up a quote, right? I'm gonna pull up a quote about and I make quotes a lot. I'm just gonna pull it up on my keep notes, right?
Let me just give you a quick listen. If you understand, you understand. No buy granite and sugar for the same place. They go know say you want drink, Gary.
Fact.
You get.
He said someone said I hate to put it. Said someone said when our days I think this was in the movie. That's why I don't watch movies that don't give me anything. So someone said when our days are done, morals are the only things that stand between reverence and infamy.
Morals
are the only thing
values
that stands between. So I want morals, values, identity. Who are you?
Do you know why we're where we are now? Okay, so go.
I'll take it a step further. It says obscurity is a much worse faith after death. Right.
Powerful.
If you extrapolate, it's everything everybody fears is death. If someone tells you obscurity is a much worse faith, you have to take a step back and think, what's that guy saying? Right? And what black players are doing now, the line they're towing is obscurity. Never made a stand for anything. I have never been a footballer before. So anyone that wants to come after me, right, can come after me freely. Right? And if you have a better point, you can make it. That's why we're here. Right? But would it not be better if between the year 2021, when the pandemic hit, 2020, and 2022, some black players decided to make a stand, whether they are going to be heard or not, but on record that these people stood up and said, this is who we are.
This is who we are.
And this kind of funny because this falls just a week after the guy on Twitter. What's his name? The traditional black people, right?
Don't mention his name.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to mention his name. But what it shows you is what goes back to what Lakunle said: a lack of identity. You understand? When they see that you're divided against yourself, you cannot stand, right?
Yeah.
But in the end, sorry if you're just joining the podcast. Welcome to the Hindsight Podcast. We actually did say that it might not be a football podcast per se. It might be a bit more what you're not used to. But that's what it is, right?
And I think also it's important to point out the hypocrisy of the Westerners. Point in case the administrators of the Premier League or the English people, obviously. So somebody made a tweet, and I'm going to just look for it. One of our Edmonds, Oluwashina Okileji, and I thought, yeah, very very important to go to it. He said, race horses die on the track.
Yeah.
Regularly, and studies have shown that whips hurt. 4,000 former race horses have been sent to slaughterhouses in Britain and Ireland since the start of 2019.
Yeah.
No outrage.
And
So
yeah.
if you want to cut somebody's head off because they kicked a cat,
Which is wrong.
which
right?
which
kicking
is
the
wrong.
cat is wrong, we know. But then have a think about,
How do you think about
they're killing animals. They're killing chickens every Christmas.
my very good friend, Anegbon Biola Kazim always says, he says, look, all Kourt Zouma has to do now is to say, I'm not mentally okay. I'm suicidal. I've thought about killing myself. And watch the entire world turn 360.
Listen to what I said about using what they've been using against you. Against them.
Watch the entire world turn against and say,
Exactly.
come on, Kourt Zouma, come on.
Exactly.
You have a fantastic life. There's much to live for. Please, come on.
It's a life of hypocrisy.
Come on, come on.
a world of
and
hypocrisy.
let's animal cruelty. I don't want to speak about it because I love animals. Ultimately,
I love when you say I love animals.
I love
dogs.
snake no the inside. Snake no follow. Right. Snake no follow.
Right?
The animal no plenty.
You know plenty. You know it's four. You get. I love Sassy and I love Coco. Shout out to my guys dogs Ogun shot because the apartments I stay in, you can't have pets, so I can't have pets in my compound, right? But when you speak about animal cruelty, Olakile makes a great point. Race horses, and people say, look, the same people, not JJ, this is David Hondoyin, say the same people who pay thousands of dollars to another continent to shoot lions or shoot animals and post for pictures and find that socially acceptable, go ahead to criticize a guy who kicks a cousin of a distant cousin rather of a lion in his house, and the cousin not die, the cat did not die, right? I'm not saying that is right, but you have to be a real human being created in God's image with a clear mind to see that this thing here doesn't fit with this thing you are trying to portray. Yeah. It is clear virtue signaling, and we've spent maybe 35 minutes or 40 minutes on the podcast speaking about Kourt Zouma, and maybe rightly so,
Yeah,
because
rightly so.
it deserves to be spoken about.
Yeah.
And finally,
we're Pan-Africans.
we're Pan-African.
We stick
And
with our own.
finally, 2 million kangaroos, are butchered every year, to make football boots. To make football boots. That's what JJ put out that stats, right? And,
But it's nothing
and
because
Adidas and Nike are the biggest.
Yeah.
The biggest.
Brand.
Benefactors of
Do you know
football
what?
boots.
And
the
I think-
Mercurial. The Mercurial boots.
before
And I
all
think
those
this makes sense because also if you've read the shoe
Kangaroos'
dog,
lives don't matter.
also if you've read the shoe dog,
Yeah.
when the company started, and shoe dog is about Nike, the person that started Nike.
Yeah.
When the company started, one of the number one issues that they had was how much of the level of harm that their factories was causing at the time. They found a solution, but that didn't create any sort of outrage in the society, even when the factories were causing real harm.
Yeah.
Right, to the society. That didn't create any. Look, you go into Britain, you see, there are people losing their lives for issues as
smallest issue.
do you understand? And these same people are going
They don't
crazy
care.
over somebody that
They don't give a shit, right?
Bro, I think one of the best players to ever grace the planet is Eden Hazard, right? Right, and I love him because he's a jovial guy.
Yeah.
I don't think that he's made anything racist comment and anything like that, right? Well, Hazard kicked the 14-year-old kid, right?
Yeah,
The
ball boy.
kicked out the ball boy, right? Got a 3-match ban. Is that human being? That's a human being that was kicked.
Yeah,
If
what
you
happened?
if you care for pets that much, how much if you extrapolate that care to a human being? It Hazard got a 3-match ban and that was the end of it. Luis Suarez, I hate to repeat it, Luis Suarez beat 2 people, right? And all Adidas did or said was we have to speak to him, monitor and warn him about it. So matter of fact, all Luis Suarez adverts are him screaming and showing his teeth.
So
right. Bonucci made a comment about a racist comment and
That was even worse.
Got away with it.
So-
So
It's also important, sorry, UB, to also add, and people talk about you guys are supposed to be talking about football. You guys are talking about all these things, and that was why I said it's from a holistic view. These things are issues in the society. It doesn't matter that we're talking just about football. So when people want to talk about why you guys talking about all these things, you can't separate politics. You can't separate some of these things from football, from music, from what have you. What you realize is that one of the major issues is the fact that these bodies, the FA, the government offices and all that, they are very wary of offending some major movements. Do you understand?
Yeah.
They are very wary of offending some major movements, and that was what I was talking about the other time, that black people have refused, or black players in this case have refused to stand together when these issues come up.
Yeah.
Because what has happened is that all these other people, we can talk about racism, it's true, but the main issue is that there are movements that have gained power in how much they put into their movements. So the Premier League would probably, they're thinking about animal whatever animal, I don't know what their name is.
Yeah.
There's a movement for that. If you mistreat your dog, they come and take it away from you.
Yeah.
There's a movement for that, and it's because of how powerful that movement is. So this particular body are very wary of offending that movement.
Right.
So black people need to understand identity, community. If you have it and it is strong enough, nobody will mess with you.
And just remember, if you say, for example, the Premier League, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, don't one side your money or one side or one Musala, what do you think China does? Welcome. Right.
What are you scared of losing? Money?
Yeah. Money.
We have the money.
Yeah, you have a considerable.
that-
No, hold on. You have a considerable amount of money already. What do you think China does? Welcome. What do you think the US does? Don't forget.
Even in Saudi
That's
Arabia,
what I think. That's what I
all those
think.
countries.
Political movements is important for every individual to have some sort of understanding of how politics works.
Definitely.
And how you associate yourself
That's what decides your life.
to win in some situations, and you lose some surely, right? What do you think Saudi Arabia does? The same Premier League, the World Cup is going to be held in November, but the World Cup is going to be held in Saudi Arabia, right? And with everything we've heard about Saudi Arabia and the hundreds of people that have died trying to build those state-of-the-art stadiums.
UAE, you mean,
Right.
not Qatar.
Sorry,
you mean,
Qatar.
not
right,
Saudi
right.
Arabia.
Is it Qatar? Yeah,
Qatar, yeah.
Qatar, right? In Qatar. The hundreds of people that have lost their lives. I've seen a bit of articles, couple of things. But can you imagine the sustained pressure we've had for 3 days about Kourt Zouma? If the Super League had more outrage than the World Cup, the workers that died at the World Cup venues.
Yeah.
Right? And you speak about cruelty.
It's
If you cannot,
nonsense,
if
madness.
it's madness. And
It's absolute madness.
finally on this topic, let's move on. Is popularity versus merit, right? Every time we speak about football awards, right? We talk about that it is important that we fundamentally shift the paradigm from people getting things based off of popularity to merits, because the popular people can always have a chance to win. But merits, I hate to go back to society. When you give things on merit, you are creating not just a justice system or an equitable system, but you're also creating a balanced society where everybody feels like, if they get into trouble, they stand a chance of getting
Basically,
out of it.
actions, consequences, reactions.
Getting out of it. If this happened to Messi or Ronaldo,
They won't cancel this.
their crowd absorbs this thing.
They would
You
never
get the
cancel
PR machine that goes out flies like this thing dies down after 18 hours.
And there's an example for that. Can you remember when Messi more or less insulted one of the administrators at Barcelona?
Is it Comebo?
No, at Barcelona. There was a guy that Messi told that he didn't know anything about
Yeah,
football.
it was.
Imagine if it was a black player.
That is downright condescending.
I think it was Abidal and his backroom.
No, it wasn't Abidal that he insulted. It was one.
It was Messi.
Messi insulted.
Abidal was part of the backroom staff.
Messi, he was a particular guy.
He was a particular guy that Messi told.
I think he made a comment and Messi told him you
don't know anything about football. Imagine if that was a black player.
It is downright condescending because actually, in the end, Messi doesn't know anything about football because the only thing he does is play the game.
Yeah.
You understand? There are people who work their asses off to
Does
make
he
sure that
understand the
the
business
commercial
side of it?
deals. Because in the end, the football that is we know as football, what we know as
There's
football
more to
is
it.
the commercial football.
Yeah.
Because football is played on the street every day.
Exactly.
Do
What
you-
we
do
know
you-
is
do
it's
you-
as
do
a
you-
result of the business.
Do
of
you
it.
know anything? Do you speak to your gate man that plays football? You don't come and say, okay, please.
Do you sit and watch them and clap for them?
Make a jam winner. Come on this stone for this road. That's football. That is real football.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right? The football you know now, the guy you say
The
has,
commercial aspects.
he knows more football than you can ever imagine.
Yeah.
Than you can ever imagine.
That he doesn't know how to play.
They don't know how to play.
Or tactics on the
Yeah.
pitch.
Yeah.
Which is why when some clowns come at me and say, all you do is talk about the game in a very good way, and they always try to give me a good comment. They want to attack me, but they try the soft pedal. They say, speak about the game.
At least they don't do that with IBK.
they-
IBK has got a medal
yeah,
to
he's
show.
got a medal to show for
He's
it.
got a medal to show.
You speak about the game in a very good way.
medal?
You been keep now. You don't forget. You don't
know,
forget your own medal.
I like the way you speak about the game, but do you really play the game? I know they're trying to attack me. I'm like, are you mad? You know, are you mad? You know, I'm trying to find you. You know, so you get. But that's that. So in the end, merits and equity, popularity doesn't have to always win against merits, right? So let's get away from that. I think we have done on that topic, right? And
I just feel the need to, you know,
Go for it.
slot in that vector line. You know, sometimes or most times the note is wrong when popularity sinks. It's important.
yeah, that's very
Put it
good.
in
That's very true. Which is why I always say also that not many podcasts. I won't promote many podcasts, but I have to say that if you are African, you have to watch the Bird's Eye View.
Yeah.
You have to watch the Bird's Eye View.
This man doesn't have an idea what the bird's eye
He
view
has
is.
no idea. All IBK does is, sell a player grade jerseys, make them, make some
And
nice,
play sport,
Are they
bets.
on IG?
Two odds
Bet-
and
bet-
over
Bet
2.5.
to the enter.
Yeah, right.
Bet to the enter.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I'm a man that needs no introduction on this show. It remains the Hindsight Podcast. When it comes to talking sport, when it comes to talking football all around the world, you get the best information from this particular podcast. You can always join us online, on YouTube, on IG, anywhere online. You can always join. Even on Clubhouse, we're there for you to dish you the best information when it comes to sport all around the world. Stay tuned always.